We are joined now by Oregon head coach Kelly Graves, and will later be joined by student athletes Maite Cazorla, Ruthie Heberd, and Sabrina Ionescu. Questions for Coach?
A little early, yeah. I was a little disappointed that we couldn't get out yesterday, but those kind of things happen. And I reminded our team and sent them a little text today about our core values and principles. And number one on that list is we choose to be positive. So we were positive about it and got here. I was just hoping to get here, last night so I could visit with friends and things like that, being back. But no, it was all good. Those things happen.
Hey, Coach, what is it like being back in Spokane? They were shouting you out on the news last night. You're a pretty popular guy here.
Okay. Yeah, coaches come and, in terms of their popularity, come and go. Depends on the outcome of the previous night's game. It feels great to be here, honestly. I went for a great walk down along the river and through the Gonzaga campus this morning, and and just remember how beautiful this place is. I loved my time here, 14 years, and it was all during the time that my kids were growing up. So, we made some of our very best friends here, and it was special. I know it's not about me this week, it's about my team, but I was really hoping that we would draw the Spokane Regional, and indeed we did.
Kelly, in watching the Central Michigan game on my computer, I noticed not only did they hit 14 threes, but their big hit a number of them. What kind of challenge does that present for you guys defensively, and what would Ruthie's responsibility be on that sort of defense?
Yeah, well, I think that's what makes them so formidable, is that they can put 5 players on the floor that can make threes. I mean, this isn't they're an 11 seed, but it's in number only. I mean, this is a much better team than that, and they've obviously shown that. But yeah, I mean, Ruthie's, she's capable of playing a guard, and we've switched defenses enough this year where she's had to play that position, on a smaller player if need be. But yeah, I mean, this is a formidable team, and we're going to have to be on point, not just Ruthie, but everybody. And what I love about Moore inside is that she's, inside out. I mean, you can't lose her. I mean, 2-time Player of the Year for a reason. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for us. But I think that's going to be a key matchup tomorrow, Ruthie and Moore.
The Chippewas rely very heavily on their starters. I think the 2 people coming off the bench played a total of 10 combined minutes against Ohio State. So how does that affect the game plan, and is there any thought to just kind of try to tire them out?
Well, I think at this point in the season, you kind of are who you are. I mean, we're not changing. We might tweak the game plan a little bit and try to focus in this area or that area, but we're not going to change the style with which we play. I think we're difficult to play against if you don't have a bench, only because we make you defend. I mean, we get up and down the floor, okay, but I think in the half court, we make you guard. So we try to get it to the third and fourth side of the floor, and I think over the course of a 40-minute game, that can be difficult. But they've obviously proven that they can do it. They won 2 great games in Columbus, and playing a limited bench. So I think at this point in the season, the adrenaline's also going to help. So I don't know if the conditioning is going to be much of a factor either way.
Kelly, ever since the home game against UCLA, you guys won. Satu's shooting numbers are way up. Is there something you can tie that to, or is it a number of factors that have helped her in the last 8 or so games shoot through the roof?
Lexi Bando. I mean, truly. I mean, with having Lexi out there, that gives us 4 shooters usually on the perimeter. So, before you could maybe play off one of our players, at that 4 spot, and so Satu, they could put their best defender on Satu out there in terms of just somebody who's going to be spotting up. Well, they can't do that now with Bando back. So that means Satu's getting a little bit more room to get those looks. Plus, she's a freshman, and freshmen continue to get better and better and better, and that's what she's doing. And her confidence right now is really high. I think she could be an X factor for us, not only tomorrow, but hopefully beyond.
Kelly, it's not only over here. It's not only a return to Spokane for you, but for Audie as well.
Yeah.
How excited has she been to come here? What has her role been this year? And it sounds like you guys missed, because of the plane, you missed an important little food gathering at her parents' house?
Yeah, and I've eaten at the Gildens before, and it's impressive. I knew they had a big old slab of ribs ready for the team last night. Yeah, she was disappointed because I think she was really excited to go home and show off her family to the team and everything. Audie's, in these parts, Audie's a really popular player only because she was, or not only because she was a successful player, 2 state championships at Gonzaga Prep, 2 undefeated seasons. But she is just a well-liked person. I mean, just a competitor, great personality, an awesome teammate. What I'm really proud of Audie is that she's in our student leadership, student-athlete leadership. I mean, she has really developed into just a strong, confident woman. And as a player, man, I'll tell you, she gives us a lift. And we kind of kid with her Miss March. She had a great March last year. She's already had a good start this year, and we hope that continues. We need that spark.
Hey, Kelly, I should ask you when your reservation is at Churchill's or something like that.
Yeah, I had one last night. It's okay.
You were an 11 seed in this position before. What advice would you give to an 11 seed that's playing in a regional semifinal?
Well, I'm not going to say. I think I would say the same thing that I would say to anybody else. Just play. Be who you are. I don't think at this point it helps anybody to change or to add new things or anything like that. I think at this point, pretty much every team has seen everything. They're not running anything tomorrow that we haven't seen before. I think just kind of be yourself, have fun with it. I think at this point in the season, I think just having fun and enjoying the experience is important. But, I've been fortunate to be in this position before, so I've had the team prep for this. We're not looking at a seed, that's for sure. And I think my teams have been fortunate enough to win 9 games in this tournament as a double-digit seed. And I'm not sure that's, anybody else can say that. So we've been in that position before.
Being back in the place you've coached at for 14 years, I'm sure you've had a lot of people reaching out to you. How many texts have you gotten just since you've landed, and have any kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, no more than normal. I think my friends usually text after every game anyway. It's not just because they're here, but no. And I think most who know me and know me well enough to be texting know that this is a business trip. That's why I was really hoping to get here yesterday, because the day before the game and a day of the game, my friends know not to really, hang around too much, because I stay pretty focused on the task at hand. But no, this means a lot to me personally. It really does. I love Spokane. I love Gonzaga. I'm proud to have been the ZAG coach for 14 years. And I tweeted out today one of my fondest memories right here, 7 years ago. We made that run to the Elite Eight, and it happened right here in Spokane. So that was special.
Going off that experience of being on the other side, Coach, is it any different now that you're kind of expected to get to this point?
No, not internally. Externally, I think, people, are maybe predicting that we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But internally, wait till you see the 3 up here, and if you come watch us practice, we're the same loose team that we've been all year. I haven't noticed anything different than, in how we were going about things this year as we did last year. This is just a fun group to be around, and they're very loose. So, no, I think the external pressures are different, but we try not to let that affect our team.
Kelly, you talked about fond memories here in Spokane at Gonzaga. What do you think of the job that Lise has done, obviously she being an assistant while you were here in Spokane?
Oh, she's been great. I mean, just picked up right where we left off. And she was part of the success before. I mean, I think she had been on my staff for 7 or 8 years prior. As I get older, I kind of forget those kind of details, but a long time, and she helped build it. And she's just taken it over, and they continue to do great. They're recruiting well. She obviously is a great coach and has an awesome staff, and Gonzaga supports, women's basketball, as much as anybody in the country. So I'm really proud of her. I think it's great. She's still a young coach, and she's got a bright future.
Coach, I know you loved having Matthew Knight, playing at Matthew Knight last weekend and the kind of home court advantage. We talked to a couple people here in Spokane who say that they plan on becoming Ducks fans this weekend. How big of an advantage would that be to almost have a second home court this weekend?
Yeah, well, I sure hope that the Spokane fans come out in force and, yeah, cheer for the Ducks. Why not? We're a Northwest school, and I'm sure if they didn't go to the school themselves, I'm sure they know people who did, or they have friends whose kids went there. I mean, it's a popular school in the Northwest. Yeah, I think anytime you have the crowd cheering for you, I think that's a positive. But, you know, it's just human nature to kind of root for the underdog, and right now Central Michigan would be considered the underdog, not in my view, but in terms of, again, the seed and maybe nationally. But, yeah, so come on, Zag fans. Let's cheer for those Ducks.
Kelly, there's not the chaos on the women's side that the men's bracket has, but how important is it for, you know, there to be 2 11 seeds in the Sweet 16 from mid-major teams? I know you say they're not the underdog, but to have some sort of parity in women's basketball?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's good for our game. I think one of the knocks for years in the women's game would be, especially with the top 4 seeds hosting, is, you know, maybe 15 or even 16 of those top seeded teams move on. So there wasn't a whole lot of drama in the early rounds, and that's what makes the men's tournament so special. So yeah, I think it's great. And again, you guys, listen, I've seen I don't know how many games on Central Michigan. These guys can play, and they actually remind me a lot of our Zag teams back in the day. They play fast, they can all score, they play good defense, they play really hard, they play with a high IQ, and they have great leadership, and I think Coach Guevara is a terrific coach. So yeah, this is I think good for everybody. Hopefully it's not good for them tomorrow, but it's pretty neat what they've done. That whole league.
Do we have any more questions for Coach? All right, thank you.